That's much better. Now, you've already seen my list of what I think the top 10 underrated movies are. Now here's time for my list of the top 10 overrated movies. Food disclaimers, once again, this is my opinion. I'm not saying any of these movies are good or any of these movies are bad. If I do, I'll tell you my opinion of them as we go. So let's get started. Number 10, Night and Day. You can really just go back to my review of this. It's just, back when this movie came out, I, like everyone else, was like, so super excited. I mean, we've got a poster of it back there. Before the movie came out, but I was so excited for this movie, my must-see movie of 2010, but I thought it was a little underwhelming. I mean, it's just, it wasn't anything completely new. Like, it had a very similar structure to my favorite book series, Playing with Fire, at least the first book in that. Because, like, if you've read Playing with Fire, you'll, like, watch the movie and say, you know, a lot of it sounds familiar. Like, there's a place, the place names Dick June and Roy with Belle in Rome, and that's pretty much what you get. And, it's just, it tried to keep throwing twists at us, but none of the twists really had punch. And it wasn't the most satisfying ending, but it's not an awful movie, and it can be enjoyed as just a pure guilty pleasure, I suppose, but whatever floats your boat. Number 9, Twilight. Yeah, y'all saw this one coming. Again, let me make it perfectly clear. I don't think Twilight's a good movie. I don't think Twilight's a bad movie. It's in the middle. But it's just, the movie, it was just okay. I mean, it had a good concept, and like, some of the acting was good. Robert Pattinson was good. I like him, believe it or not. I'm not gay or anything, but I thought he's a decent actor. I'll give him that. So, like, some of the other more minor characters were good, like whoever plays Alice. I'm blanking on her name. Not important. Sorry. Ashley Greene, that was it. That's her name. And, the cinematography was nice. This is a nice movie to look at. It's like hailed as a masterpiece, this movie. I mean, solely for the fact that people love the book. And the people love the book, and they say, oh, the movie is great. All the movies are good. And they're not, people. Especially not New Moon. Just because you love the series doesn't mean you have the right to say everything about this is good. All permutations are good, because they're not. Like, on occasion they'll strike gold, but like with Breaking Dawn, the book, and Eclipse, the movie. But all in all, the Twilight's not awful. It's definitely one of the better tween romance series that's been out in a while regarding vampires and/or werewolves. But, the movie just was not perfect. Number 8, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Oh boy, I'll get so much hate for this one. It's just, I don't hate this movie. I think, at first when I saw it, I was a little weirded out. I just couldn't handle a whole lot of it the first time I saw it. And the second time I saw it, I started to appreciate it a little more. Then I watched it a few times on DVD, and I started to appreciate it a little more. Then I watched it a couple more times on DVD, and I thought, wow, there's not a whole lot to this movie. I mean, the problem with this movie is that the visual style, yes, it's cool, is very unique, and it's very mind-blowing the first time you see it. But that's pretty much it. The novelty quickly wears off in this movie. Like, you kind of know, like, when the jokes are coming or what the visual style is, because when the first time you saw it, you don't know what the visual style is going to be. And then, so it's all cool and it finally unfolds. But when you know what's coming, it doesn't have as much punch as you think it would be. You think it would have, whatever. Number 7, The Rock. Now, I love Michael Bay, but I think there's a lot of things I like about The Rock, especially from when they get onto Alcatraz till the end of the movie. It's just pure action fun. Even if that underground sequence with the little mining carts, that was a little over the top. But I think the first half of this movie is just a little slow and just very, very unrealistic. Like, they make it perfectly clear that Ed Harris's character, gives him like 24 hours or else he's gonna bomb the place, and they waste all that time trying to recruit Sean Connery. Like, if this was really happening, they would not just piss all that time away. They would make good use of it. Damn it, because that's what I'd do if I ran the president. Because it does get fun near the end, like especially like the whole last few scenes, like from up to the when they escape out of the Alcatraz prisons and get up into the grand climax. That was really cool, and it's got some cool stuff, and like some stuff I didn't really amount to anything. Like, what was the point of the pregnant girlfriend? Like, why was she in the movie? Why was she pregnant? That didn't make a whole lot of sense. And the car chase, very, very over the top. But even for a guy like me who loves action scenes that are wild, especially Michael Bay action scenes, that was a little over the top. I'm sorry, Mr. Bay. Again, not an awful movie, but it definitely doesn't. It definitely has some flaws. Number 6, Die Hard. Another one I'm gonna get really slammed for. I rented this movie hearing nothing but good things about it, and when I finally watched it, I was like, is that it? Because it's just your standard guy against the world action movie. And there's not even really a point to it. It's like John McClane just does this for the heck of it. Like, he doesn't have that much of motivation. Sure, his wife is there, but... And, again, some things I like about this movie. I like the idea of having a man on the inside and communicating with the guys outside. That makes it very intense. But Alan Rickman was not the most convincing villain. The villains weren't very good in this movie. And it did get a little over the top in some scenes. Some scenes were good. I've only seen this movie once, so if I blank a couple times, that's probably it. That's probably why. I liked the design of this movie. The design of the building that they were in, that looked really cool. Like, especially that big vault that they're trying to break into, and the big office with the giant Christmas tree. Yeah, I'm sorry, I nitpick at stuff like this. But I didn't think this movie had enough special stuff for this. It wasn't really mind-blowing or like, oh, I've never seen this before. There's a lot of stuff in this movie I've seen before. Number 5, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Again, a good movie. It's just not a whole lot to it. I mean, so the opening up to before they actually go into the factory, it gets really over the top with its satire, like with the whole world, like in their frenzy 227 for Wonka candy bars. That gets a little really extreme, with the woman having to choose between her case of Wonka bars or her husband's life. That was way over the top, even for a movie where like people like turn into fruit. That's saying something. And yeah, the movie does look really cheap nowadays, but if we usually judge a movie purely on the budget factor, then I guess New Moon would probably be a Best Picture nominee. This movie is a classic. I'm not gonna argue that, but it's just the watch it again factor is a little slow on it. It doesn't totally hold up. Number 4, The Blind Side. This is one of those movies that sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It's just, the problem with this movie is, kind of like Battle LA, it's trying too hard to be a specific movie. It's trying really hard to be really heartwarming and really like a fun family movie. But again, like I said in my Battle LA review, if you have to try, then you're not doing something right. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of things I like about this movie. I like the acting was great. Sandra Bullock, of course. I think she earned that Oscar. Although I still think Meryl Streep should have gotten a little something for Julie and Julia. And I liked Quentin Aaron, who played Michael Orr in this movie. I think he deserved something. He did a great job. I was very thoroughly impressed with him. And but again, I think like this movie just tries really, really hard. Like it's trying to be super heartwarming and it's trying to be Sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it doesn't. But it's just when the heartwarming scenes come up, they're like a little over the top, and you're like, ugh, like there's no chances it would happen in real life. Number 3, The Matrix. Before you go crazy, you know from my videos, I love The Matrix. I love all of them. Reloaded is my favorite. But the first one, in fact, I recently had a 6-hour Matrix movie marathon. I watched all 3 of them straight in a row, which was kind of fun. But the first one, it's, again, like Scott Pilgrim, the novelty wears off. Like, once you know the twist, it's just your standard shoot-'em-up action movie. Like, there's not a... Some of the action scenes aren't really special. There's too little taking advantage of the fact that you're in the Matrix in this movie. Like, bullet time, yeah. Like, maybe that scene in, like, the subway where Neo and Smith, like, go like that and it spins around. But not a whole lot. The sequels take more advantage of the Matrix action scenes in the Matrix. But, I thought this, the first movie, like, did... the concept was great, and the mystery held up, sometimes holds up. But again, if you go into the movie knowing the twist, you're probably going to be like, oh, I've seen it all before. Number 2, The Kids Are Alright. Normally, when I see a movie that's nominated for Best Picture, I go into it knowing there must be something really, really special about this movie. And sometimes, and most of the time, I'll find it. I'll find something special. Especially if I've seen the movie before it gets a nomination. The Kids Are Alright is one of those movies I saw knowing it was a Best Picture nominee. So, again, I was telling myself, there must be something really special about this movie. And I didn't find it. It was just your average suburban marriage dramedy. That's all it was. I didn't see... I think the fact that it was lesbians was probably the big twist they had for it, but... it's just... Again, it wasn't very special. There wasn't anything that said, hey, we got a really great heartwarming stuff. Like, movies like, other indie movies that got nominated for Best Picture, like, say, Up in the Air or Juno, those had special things in it. Both by the same director, FYI, by the way. But, Kids Are Alright. There wasn't nothing special about this. So, the acting was only okay. I don't think Mark Ruffalo deserved his nomination. I love Mark Ruffalo, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he deserved it. And I definitely don't think this whole movie deserved a Best Picture nomination. I mean, like, I had a lot of those things I hate in movies where they just have really awkward conversations with all these pauses, and whenever I see those in movies, I just cringe. Like, please don't show that again. This is the one movie I really don't think should have gotten nominated. That's pretty much all I can say about that. In my opinion, the '1 overrated movie is The Breakup. Yeah, I've talked this movie to death. It's so boring. It's all talking completely. Nothing interesting at all. 2 jokes total, and I counted maybe 3, because the scene where Jennifer Aniston walks by naked and Vince Vaughn's like... That might have been the 3rd joke. I'm debating myself on that. But, it's one of those movies that could have been good. It really, really could have been good. And, it had a good concept, but it didn't take advantage of it. And people hail this movie as a masterpiece. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people just say, oh, I love this movie, it's so good. I mean, it was just such a unique take on a romantic comedy. And I'm like, people, it was 100 minutes of talking. Really look at it. And it just... it has these stupid scenes, like Justin Long is like the obnoxiously gay assistant. And, why was the director of Iron Man in this movie? Why? Like, the ending is a total letdown. Fair enough. That is an original way to end a romantic comedy, but they spoiled it in the title. I mean, come on, it's called The Breakup. How can you not know, spoiler alert, that they break up at the end? I cannot possibly fathom why people like this movie so much. It's just, this is the one movie on this list I honestly think is bad. Everything else are movies I either some kind of like or really like, but there's still some things wrong with them, or movies I just think are okay or slightly below average. So, Friends of 27 out.